All right, what's going on, guys? This is the first stream. Welcome. Today we're going to be looking through my Lightroom catalog. These are all photos from Uganda, actually, that I uh, I went through pretty quickly when I took them. Uh, haven't even imported them into my Lightroom catalog yet, but we've got over three. Okay, some of these are not. So we're going to be taking a focus on Uganda, but in the same trip, we actually did finish off in Brussels. So there are a few photos from there, which I'll probably integrate. But then, yeah, we got the Etonium here. Um, and as you can see, like I have already been through a lot of these. As you can tell, there's some raw files that are actually already named. Just gonna take out some of this stuff. This was all from just my trip to Las Vegas a couple months ago now, actually. But we'll take that out. And yeah, we're gonna focus mostly on these. So uh the whole thing, like the whole reason that we went was actually because my younger sister was doing a internship there, and my family, of course, just wanted to piggyback on her experiences and her memories. So we booked a flight there, booked a trip to sanctuaries, and did the whole like safari experience in Africa. You got photos of Murchison Falls here, uh, Cobbs, but it's pretty crazy because like they actually do wake you up like really early in the morning. It's not for everyone. There are a couple days I kind of wish that this. Oh, the fuck am I supposed to do that? Output audio. Sorry, I'm just addressing something 6800. Okay, hopefully that fixed it. Not sure what that was really about. Anyway, uh, sorry, I'm just working on some stuff off screen just for a quick second here. Anyway, so uh, sorry, I don't know where I was there. Um, oh yeah, so when we went here, it was just really first time. Every day we're waking up. Most days it was like 6:30. You wake up, go have a breakfast, and then you're out the door like by 7. And even though most people here they have a private guide, like the way it works is um they will leave without you. Like, they have to stick to their schedule and you have to stick to their schedule. They're not It's not like some, casual thing. So here you can see, yeah, those photos of the cobs. Most of these I definitely have gone back in. Um I could show you too, like um I actually don't really know. Okay, so yeah, actually here. Look. So I'm wondering, I might we'll go through these, but considering I've already got, but 52, that's not a lot. Like, we're looking at the heroes of the heroes. This one I've actually had featured already on a couple on at least one online editorial. Um, and there's another one of a chimpanzee somewhere. Here's a leopard. These are actually two separate. No, these are the same shot I actually cropped in, but some of the stock agencies have accepted this as two photos, but just be aware that most of the time you won't get away with that. It'll call you out for duplicating it. Um, unless you do some like ridiculous resolution change. This is a photo I took at the Kuba airport. Um, it's literally just one dirt strip. And I got an interior of the cockpit as well. And so you're looking at like totally um older plane. If you know your planes, it says right there the model is a 5X KEB. Um, not really sure about that, but I kind of am interested in getting more information about that. Yeah. Oh, so that's actually its registration number. So it's a Cessna 208B Grand Caravan. And it lists private over. It's funny because this came up on Flight Radar, but doesn't look like they have any data. That's typical for private owners. Um, they're not always registered with it. But I am curious though about like, okay, yeah, look at this. Like, starting. Okay, so it's first prototype. I'm curious when production they're still distributing them in 2022. So clearly they're still going. 2023 unit cost was US. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, you get low density seating in the cabin. Yeah, that's literally, yeah, that's it. So they were single file. Um, you put some of your cargo, if I recall, does go underneath, but you're basically your knees are right on the seat. You're right beside someone, and you're feeling every bump and shake that it goes through. So anyway, I just thought that was pretty interesting information on the background of this plane. That's funny. Air conditioning. I never really realized that, but I don't think that we had that. Yeah, this is actually the area that our plane took us into. Um, this is more south towards. I don't think we weren't quite in Bwindi National Forest here. This mountain range that you see here is actually Democratic Republic of Congo (DRC). So this was close to this had to be close to Lake Albert because we did go out on Lake Albert while we were staying there. Um, yeah, yeah, okay. So Lake Albert had kind of it was neat. We went on a boat. The whole point of it is to try and find the elusive no, I want to say I keep wanting to say hornback, but it's the dinosaur one. Um, Shoebill. Yeah. So yeah, like Lake Albert, it was nice, but you go and you try and find this elusive shoebill. Um, I'm just gonna start importing these photos. There should be no duplicates. This might take a second anyway. Um, and in the meantime, we can just keep going through some of these older ones. Notice too how I have all these that say trademark removed, people removed, trademark, intellectual property removed. That is a telltale sign that it's definitely been through my stock process. Um, and in fact, I probably don't even have the originals on here so they don't get mixed up. But like, here's an instance where, right in the middle, kind of the scene, there was, I think there might have been a whole person on a boat. I didn't do a great masking job, as you can tell here. Something's going on. So yeah, that tells me that there is a hull of a boat right here. This kind of looks out of place. So I think what you're looking at here was actually the outline. And so, it's not great, but that's kind of what happens in the stock process is when you're looking for, trying to get 200, 300 photos in a day, tag, titling, description, keywords, removing logos, removing people, removing this, that, and then it might not still get accepted. Um, this was an interesting case. This photo, like they they came back right away and they're like, trademarks, hello. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, what the heck? There's no trademarks. It was like misreading some of these like engine components, I want to say, as part or as logos. It definitely wasn't the case because I uploaded it again, and sure enough, I took out like even they were so pixelated. There's no way AI or a person would have caught on to it. Anything that I noticed that looked remotely like either of those things, I just took that away. Sorry, my food's going cold. But yeah, I really like this photo. Um, I've printed this one out, but it no, the whites aren't quite there. Um, this is one, like it's funny, like on my new monitor, it looks fine, but this is one photo. Whenever I see this come up on like a Google Photos slideshow on like Chromecast or you know, anytime most monitors, to be frank, whenever I've seen this photo, it's like punch, like nuclear. But on the other hand, pretty sure this is a sky replacement, and it works. So this photo and like this one. Okay, not quite as convinced. This one definitely denotes like a sunny day in the clouds, and then you look at the foreground, like, well, I don't really match up. There's a lot of red undertones in like the grass and the bushes and stuff, and a lot of that stuff just comes from it being shaded, so you're seeing more of the natural color as opposed to it getting more neutralized from the blue sky. So if I were to revisit some of this, I'd probably add a little bit more cyan into the grass just to sell that. But at the end of the day, like we don't have the hard shadows or even remotely like the same kind of quality of light that we see on in the original. But this one's really bad. I this one got deleted, rejected, and I'm like, for good reason, probably. Just it doesn't add up. Like you can do all the color adjustment with the sky replacement as you want, but you can't like it's a pretty sunset, but when it doesn't work like that, you just know. Anyway, it looks like these got imported, but because I have filters on, turn that off, turn that off. So yeah, a lot of these already on. Like I said, today is mostly going to focus on I'm going to try and focus on stock aspect, but if we find anything that hasn't been tweaked already, we'll see what we can do. I know a lot of the animals have been touched. Actually, I don't think if I have more of the city, like these are some of my favorite shots of the taxi stand, but I've tried This is the old taxi lot in Kampala, I want to say. I know there's the new one. I'm pretty sure this is the old one, which is like the really iconic one. Um, my sister was telling me of a story where she caught then and in Kampala. Sorry, I want to say um they call them, these are buses. Like these are your city buses for the most part. You can't see in the back. There's like a bit of a coach, but other than that, it's like nothing. But yeah, this is kind of like most of the views. And like even the like I'm it's funny looking at these raws because I've done so much to the other ones. Oh, look at that. Do I have these? See, it's kind of tricky right now because I don't know what I have. But you know what? We'll go in and make some picks because there's some of these I definitely don't remember, and I have. That's what this is for. Now's the time to look through everything that might have been overlooked before. I'm taking these at f16. Probably didn't need to. 4000 ISO at 800. What the fuck? I was probably shooting. I think for most of this, I was shooting aperture priority, and definitely for me, when that happens in these kind of situations, I'm like, my mentality is, I'm not gonna get this chance again, probably ever, or for a very long time. I don't want to look back at it and it be, out of focus or something. But here, I kind of smartened up and still didn't need to push 640 ISO, but at least I have less diffraction. Um, like so many things probably going through my head at this time, and I'm like, between I don't want to lose the shot and I don't want to overexplode my highlights, you know, that kind of feeling of this is your chance, don't mess it up. Yeah. Uh, and like some of these things, like what I can tell you, and I still don't think it justifies 1/2500th of a second. Um, is that a lot of these were taken out of the window, side window of a car. Um, and what would happen a lot of those times is, if you're going through these little cities, these little towns, villages even, where buses don't really stop, or like you see the only time you see a Mzungu or like a white tourist is as they're just driving through. No one stops, no one talks to you. So a lot of the time you get these kids who they'll chase up beside the car and ask for candy, ask for money. Um Sorry, but not quite sure what just happened there. Mm. Look at this cutie. Okay, I'm back. Okay, there. Anyway, so this little guy, he stole the show easily. Oh, he's so cute. Um, yeah, I gotta say one of my favorite portraits from this guy. I didn't realize, it was pretty dark. But okay, my settings are pretty whack. Again, yeah. So basically, what this guy I used to shoot weddings for, he always told me like, shoot AV, shoot AV, shoot AV. But then what happens is like you let the camera meter itself, and when you're on point, point selection, you move it just like a little bit, and you've gone from exposing something that needs to be exposed at like that's white, or sorry, in this case, something that's black, like the skin of him. But then it reads the highlights on the trees in the background and doesn't really do you much good, right? So but then the final this one ended up looking something like uh, come on, it's not even in here. I don't even know. It's not in here. I don't know where it is. Yeah, it's weird. It's probably oh, there we go. So we're back close up. So you can see like there is actually quite a bit of noise in this, and now I'll probably go back on it and yeah, like I might run this one again, and ask me. I think the blacks are pulled a little high. When I look at them on my second monitor, they're a lot better, but that's really punchy monitor. So again, these might look good on like on the TV, for instance, but not on here. I'm not liking it. Do 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 do. Sorry, I just turned down my mic. Um, yeah. So I don't really know how to tackle this today because so many have been exported, but like for instance, too though, like I know this that was the original from that one that got rejected. I think it got rejected for file quality. Well, file quality, yeah, because it was nuclear. Um, so like that could be one where we revisit, for instance. Um, but again, like I don't recognize all of the like many of these, so this was on Lake Mutanda. So like I said, we left this area. Lake Albert. Other is there it is. I guess I got like I actually managed to get it like um but see yeah this so for this I would definitely would have used like tracking. That's not a shoe bill, that's a hornbeck. Hornbill. No? No. Okay, shoe bill. Yeah, that's the shoe bill. And the hammer caught yeah, I have a shot of it flying. Okay, well if there's anyone who knows their birds, any birders hanging around, can you please help me out with this one? I definitely had the name of it somewhere. It was definitely in my vocabulary for a bit, and now it's gone. Look at this guy. Shots of heron. I think this. Yeah. Okay. So this is the shoe bill. And bro, I'm at 400, 1/800. And I'm still like it's tiny in my frame. Would have needed a 2 times extender, but there was really no other time in the trip that well, I mean like the leopard maybe, but really there wasn't much time to use or need for it. Um Also like my approach going into this place was not to I'm not a bird nerd. I don't really care about getting like the perfect shot of the perfect bird. So I felt like to me that's something that's already done enough times, done it's oversaturated. You could argue the same thing for any of these upcoming shots, but um my personal thing is like when I like came into photography, I find like I started out very macro. It's very comfortable shooting those close-ups, um having like good focus fall off, like it's pretty. Everyone knows that that works. Like you shoot a flower, you shoot a bird, you shoot anything super close up, obviously it's going to be pretty with the focus fall off and your eye getting drawn into the center of focus and all that. And so I find now the kind of shots that I'm looking for or that are more challenging to execute are the ones where your foreground, midground, and background they're all in focus and like your eye has to really bounce around the scene like oh what's over here, or like You know, like this, it's not the best example of that because yes, there is the foreground would fall off and it falls off into the background, but I would argue still though that there are some design elements in here that are at play that are working. For instance, I would say there's repetition, um, and some level of symmetry. I would say yes, the elephant, no pun intended, has a heavy weight. But with our foreground elements that are like out of focus, a little mysterious, um, you don't really know. And like, to be honest, when I first looked at this as a thumbnail like this, um, I actually thought there was another elephant carcass beside it. So it just goes to show you, that that's just something that my brain drew from seeing this. It's not actually the case, but sometimes that just goes to show, like you can reach for those kind of metaphors and those elements that you know but I'm gonna try and get a selection of this. I don't like that he's obscured, but I do prefer in this motion as opposed to back here. It feels just more disconnected and I'm getting greater symmetry. I think we want to show the width of those ears, so I think this is going to be the one. um So this is that hammer cup I was talking about. You see, it's got that head. This was a crazy instance because this thing came just out of nowhere, and decided that it wanted to fly beside our car. Um, and it all happened so quick. Like, what am I at here? I'm at a 118. So like, fortunately, I had the right lens on, but this would be one of those instances where if you were not ready, the time that it would take you to reach into your bag and grab the lens out, the moment's over. I didn't have two bodies with me. Most of the time I was on this 1 to 400. At 400, um, these are some cool shots. See these guys coming up with the motorbike. Actually, this is after they passed us, but they're on the motorbike and they're gonna have to pass this thing, Buffalo. Um, but I did get some cool shots of them coming at us. Also, that was after they left. Where are the shots of them coming at us? Is it after we left? Yeah, sure enough, actually, yeah, it was the same guys. Um, and then we caught them coming at our car, which was pretty funny. I got this awesome shot. Um, Actually, one of my more favorite edits. But this is another actually here. Look at this. So this is one of those instances again where I love this shot. I think it would do really well, but because I didn't say, "Hey driver, stop the car." I need to just get these guys' signatures, quickly document where we are, when we are, where, like, and when, um, and I got to get these guys to agree to sell their likeness to me. Basically, that just doesn't happen. So unfortunately, this is just going to be one of those shots where it goes from having this, these leading lines into a subject and everything's working. There's movement, there's action, But hey, you don't have the release, man. Like, there's nothing we can do. So this just had to get turned into a nice landscape, which I think, it is. It is still pretty, but just a shame that we couldn't sell it with these guys on board. Um, yeah, and as far as like new shots go, I'll probably some of these. I think some of these were overlooked before. Is that a child or is that like I think that's a child. Oh yeah, this was see, that's a nice shot with the kid there. 800. Okay. The R5 is great, but I will say like it doesn't handle ISO all that great. Um yeah, I set up but like come on, for like ISO 800, you can see the noise before you even zoom in. Let me just pick any like literally let me just pick any dark area. Okay, that's not bad actually. It's mostly in these like hazy spots. Okay. Where? Um, but this is like in this instance though, like here's another time where like love this shot with the kid looking at the camera. Um, it gives this extra element to it. Like, why is this kid standing alone on a tarmac with no adult supervision? Why are the doors open? Like why is the plane look like it's loading and there's this kid there? Um, but yeah, and then this is one of those times though where looking back on it, I keep going over and over and over, like looking for more shots of this, and like I'm sure you'd know what I'd say is like I should have been standing dead center of these shrubs. This you wouldn't have this bush covering any bit of the plane, but I might have thought about that at the spot, and the moment was over. But anyway, I'm gonna add these as a pick to what we're looking for. Here's one of those instances I was talking about. So the kids, they'll God bless them, man. He's playing with like a wheel with like piece of metal going through it. And they follow the cars. They love seeing the tourists, but it does, part of it hurts your heart because uh, not to generalize, but there are a lot of noted instances in Uganda and similar African countries where like tourist does equal money. Um, and it's like yeah, it's all relative. Like it could have saved up 3 years for this trip, and it doesn't make a difference to them. But like it's all relative. It's all perspective, right? Yeah, like stuff like that's great shot. I'm gonna have to go in and take off out of that. This is like I what are they like? it's not copyright, but it could be intellectual property. Um, oh yeah, yeah. I need some adjustments, but we'll add that to the pick for now. Um, inside of the cockpit, I do believe I tried to put that on before, with not much luck. So we'll try that one again. Um, and I'm not really going in with any order. I'm just trying to get quantity right now for my portfolio. Uh, and like I said, it is tricky because I am trying to navigate through a lot of existing material. Got some great shots of these guys fishing, but didn't quite ask the boat operator at that time, whom I should mention, this guy. Um, did not ask him, hey, I want to get. Do you mind if we just turn around in this really narrow channel right here, and I'm just going to whip out these papers in a pen and get these guys to sign this on their buddy's back. Like it. If I was hired to be there for this, okay, yeah, it's justified. But um, one of five Mzungus in a boat, and like the people that we were with, they were pretty shishy. Like I think that says enough, and it definitely really wouldn't have flown, or definitely wouldn't have come across like very genuine in the time. These guys are great. Like the facial expressions kill me sometimes. But I could take these shots even of the shoe bill. Actually, there you go. There it is. There's the shoe bill. I could literally just take this though, call it a landscape, a view of Uganda taken from Lake Albert, and who knows? Maybe I leave the shoe bill. Maybe the shoe bill becomes a tag, just so like, hey, technically I did say it's there, but I think that's just like a fun little Easter egg, for someone to find. Okay, yeah, I kind of want to address like this sort of stuff. So, like, in the time that we were there, like, we didn't get much of that, like that view of like super impoverished, I want to say. But and like I did tell myself, going there, like, okay, you gotta be mindful, Brock, you gotta really be mindful of this stuff. You do not want to perpetuate that. You don't want to keep adding to the libraries of photos of sickly, like, starving African children. But you do see it. And like um there was just like one instance where, yeah, like this kid could have been the poster boy for donating to Africa. But like, come on. Whoa, that was weird. But and at first too, like, I did do some edits and play with these photos, but ultimately in the end what I deemed is that I do not want to be perpetuating this kind of image of of Uganda, let alone like Africa as a whole. And so I just decided in the end that it was too noisy and I didn't like the conversation. No, I'm kidding. I exported the edited version, but I know for a fact that I won't find it in any of these albums titled like stock photos or anything like that. Like there's just no way I would find it in. Might find it in here actually because uh, child. Yeah, like cut out the roof. I think like if I were, okay, I started talking about this, but if I were to go back on this shot, probably would try and show some roof, especially um my editing style's changed even since when did we take this? Edited in 2002. 22. Shit, I just spilled coffee all over myself. Can you see that? Anyway, I'll wear my coffee. I'll own it. Yeah. If you do join and you're wondering why there's a stain on this guy's shirt, just ask. Put it in the chat. Um, but yeah. Anyway, I want to like keep talking to this point for a little bit more. Um, and like it's gotta like it to me. What if like is so evoking is like this child's definitely young enough that we're looking at like a genuine reaction, genuine stance, position. Everything is like it's natural, but like how many times have children been directed to be in this exact situation? Like he's obviously like there's a lot of things like that evoke uneasiness, like especially even just the acknowledgement of the camera, the acknowledgement like it's not like I was just walking past this kid la di da. We're in like a safari truck and like this kid probably sees these safari trucks go back and forth because basically the village that this kid and um where these people live is like on the edge of Lake Albert. So that's where we docked and boat left for our for excursion. But like if you live your life with horse blinders on, yeah, you would get from like the hotel resort, whatever you want to call it, to the boat and everything in between that has no meaning or you're not acknowledging it, whatever. But I find those are like the truest and general, the most genuine times that you'll experience, and it's kind of your only chance really to share in lifestyles with the locals because they aren't. You think like they're going on boat rides and like doing all the stuff that the tourists are doing? Oh, not a chance. So, um, yeah. So there's that aspect, definitely of of Africa that is perpetuated a lot or has been perpetuated for decades. But I think I'm not really going to contribute to that. So it's kind of like I do feel a little bit of guilt having taken it, but at the end of the day, that's just kind of you're there to document. You're not really the author of the story in a sense you are, but um just based on my experience while being there, I probably could have focused on this issue, the social issue more, but uh, I just don't want to engage, don't want the repercussions. Like, when I first edited it, and I went to hit export along with the other bunch of photos. Um, that was kind of like the first time I really thought and paused and was like, yeah, like if I if I share this image with my friends, are they gonna get it, or are they gonna call me out? Which I would hope they, sometimes I would hope they would do that, but like, I don't know. It it just made me think like I don't know. It it would probably change someone's perspective on me, um their perspective of my perspective of what's going on in Uganda and the rest of Africa. And so it's just, it wasn't a conversation I wanted to have. It wasn't something that I wanted someone to see me as or for. So I just, wasn't about it. Um gonna go back to, but most of the time though, this is the reaction from kids that you're gonna get. So it's all like, exposure really. um and like, sure, these villages, some of these towns, they might have a couple motorcycles, but the notion of like getting in a bus and or a van with a bunch of people, like that's totally not natural. That's out of like total, like any customs that anyone would do. So yeah, you get looks. Is my dad? My dad. Um, this is on Lake Mutanda as we're going to Windy National Forest. This was interesting. So yeah, let me just pick one. This is what's called Punishment Island, and so, for Punishment Cove, I want to say. Yeah. Okay. So look. So okay, before I preface it, like before we do a little deep dive, I'll tell you what I was told going into it. So basically, um, see if I can get the edited version. It would make talking about this a lot easier. Punishment Cave. Okay, we'll just zoom in. So okay, so basically, what we were told as we were on our longboat going out is well, we were told many things, but in regards to this, it's actually it's a dark history, but it's it's a history that are out of your own customs, and so I think it is worth learning about this sort of stuff. So basically, um for wives who were married, or not even wives necessarily, but little girls, who who were forced into a lot of marriages, um would would be sent here for punishment punishment, um for crimes or injustices. But unfortunately, a lot of the time what happened was that the atrocities were being committed against them, and then they were just there to take the blame essentially. So from what I get is that they would be, forced to do certain acts, They would, be impregnated before marriage, out of wedlock. Um, this, that, and the other thing. Basically, if they looked at someone funny, they're getting sent here. And so it was like kind of cool. It was another one of those instances um where as you're approaching this island with your boat and your guide, and everyone's pulling out their cameras like, ooh, oh, what's that? There's like a window into this piece of history, like skulls. Ooh, skulls. uh and then you listen in the broken English as your boat operator's telling you the history of this place. And you just see like all the tourists, they're just, oh, okay, yeah. So it's not like this cool attraction, it's like, hey, we're at a grave. And so it had to be treated as such and with respect. And um I think that was just another one of those instances too where um it was explained to us in the clearest and to the best of their ability that they could. But what happens is just like the some of the sentiment doesn't come across. Um even just relating it, like there's no relation for this in the Western world really for us to grasp such a concept. So uh yeah. And actually, there's a few Punishment Island. This is on a whole other lake. Yeah, this is a whole, like, you can't. This is new to me. This in the south. So yeah, it is common more in the south. That's Lake Mutanda. Okay, so we're here. Kisoro, because that's where you fly into. And then you get here, and then you go across, and then you are in. Yeah, yeah. So I wasn't actually familiar with that because I knew uh, Lake Mutanda, and then you get the other side, and then you get picked up, and then do 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 do. No, he picks you up because we were hanging out here. I want to say. Oh yeah, here we go. So yeah, we're staying in one of these. Now we're in Bundi National Park. Da, 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 da. Yeah. Anyway, so legend goes. Here we go. Uganda's Punishment Island. I was left to die on an island for getting pregnant. Okay, so it says here like unmarried girls who got pregnant used to be seen as bringing shame to their families in part of Uganda. So they were taken to a tiny island and left to die. Left to die. Now, what's crazy is that they actually have interviews with these people because when were they interviewed? Oh, see, so these are on Lake Bunyani. This was the other lake that we were reading about. So, okay, here we go. An unmarried pregnant girl was seen as not only bringing shame to the family, but robbing it of much needed wealth. Families used to rid themselves of the shame by dumping pregnant girls on Punishment Island, leaving them to die. Okay, so whether it's built up for the story, for the boat operators to, drive by these sites and say, hey, like, here is an urban legend sort of thing, or like it's genuinely placed there. Either way, it's got to bring some horror to but again, the other thing to consider is what if that girl was not trying to get in that like what if she was not trying to get pregnant? How did she get pregnant? I just wanted to consider that aspect of it too. I'm gonna pick this. This is nice. I'm gonna make this. Well, got some shots on the lake. I don't think I touched before. This is their guide going through a bird book. Doo-doo. Sorry for the doo-doos every once in a while. Just gotta make sure it can still hear her. Check my phone for a second. Anyway, so yeah, probably add a couple more of these shots that I didn't touch before, really. Um, and yeah, like there's a couple other shots like I didn't really consider before, but now that we're looking for sheer quantity, like come on. Architecture is another one of those things, right? That you got to be careful with. You can't get in trouble if it's a recognizable like place or location, or if it's government or blah blah blah. But sometimes it's worth taking a chance. Sometimes they're just abstract enough that it's just like who cares. These are all photos taken from the side of the car. You can tell that's the distance between shots, and of course, the foreground things always are out of focus or blurry. But sometimes it works. Sometimes there's something to it. But most of the shots coming out the window look like this. 1/25th of a second. What are you doing, Brock? Well, like I might add that. Why not? Just for quantity. And like this, we could do something like these. Oh, you cow, you better. Oh. We'll keep it, but I don't know. Look at that. So this is what you get from the kids. It's so cute, so fun. Yeah, they're so cute. It's a pretty sweet photo. It's actually really beautiful. Oh, with the machete. I didn't see that before. That's just beautiful. Again, I don't. This is another one of those shots where I don't really recognize seeing in my catalog, like my consistent catalog, all that much. So it probably was overlooked, or probably was edited before. Probably didn't like the edit, something. Who knows? But there's definitely something there. Like something just about even like look at them. They're like looking over their shoulder, but not like, giving the full connection to the camera. Like to me that really says like I know you're there, but I'm not looking back. Yeah. These kind of shots where, like there's just I this is what I'm talking about. This is the focus falls off a little bit into the background, but sure enough, like look how much of the foreground and the background they're they're different, and they're different colors, and but they work in the disconnection and the connection. And in a way, you in the foreground, I love that both the brown sandy dirt and the colors in the outfit that the person's wearing reflect each other very well. Um, the subject without any actual digital cropping other than rotation. This is full frame. The machete and the person are kind of equidistant from each other and equidistant from the edges of the frame, which and they're turning their back on that. Like there's something about that element too I really like. It's just these kind of photos like that was overlooked when I first did batches, so we'll give that one a pick. I know this one's been edited, but this is kind of a funny story where the I submitted this for stock just this original kind of photo with the person in it and everything, and they didn't like that. They rejected it, and they of course hit me with one of those, "Hey, where's the model release for this person?" And I'm like, "Oh shoot, I did not. I don't got a model release for this random person on that I took a photo of hanging out the side of a van in the deep south of Uganda. Like, nor do I think they would care to acknowledge it." Um, so anyway, take the person out, re-upload it, and then I've been noticing that in my Google slideshow, even back there, this photo's in it, and it'll come up every once in a while. But it's the version without the person, and I only just realized that kind of recently. Um, and I'm like, what the heck? Something's missing from this. And sure enough, yeah, there's the person was taken out of it. Um, here are these. Oh, what did we just do? Here are these shots that we were looking at before. And yeah, this is that photo where I said, you know, I feel like it was kind of overdone, but another one. I don't know which one is that. This one. I don't know though. Trademarks and intellectual property removed. I don't know if I have to check my stock library because I actually don't know if that's there. Because the kid that's in the shot still. Anyway, so the tea plantation. Yeah, we're back here. It's Kampala Mosque. Okay, so how many did we pick? 32. Probably not. But like, come on. These kind of interiors, like, again, like you gotta get those releases. Yeah. So you've probably been wondering why I actually haven't. None of these are edited already. Why they weren't in? Why I had to import them into this catalog? I pretty much start from the beginning, and that's because when I first edited these photos, I wasn't using Lightroom Classic as much, or for this purpose, really. Um, and then it was when I really started attacking my stock photo library that it's been getting more use, and it's just been easy to keep track of what's uploaded, keywording and such as these are on here. All right, well, you got this started. I don't really want to add Brussels because it's kind of funny. Like I'm looking at some of these and I'm like, you know how you see memes about it, like my favorites, like if Mexico was playing, I don't know, some like very Eastern European country, and the meme is like of a soccer match, football match, and half the screen is in sepia, and then half the screen is in like a low blue hue kind of thing. Um, and that's kind of just how I see. Like, I'm not saying that I'm gonna edit all the Uganda photo, like any of the Uganda photos in that style, but I just mixing those up right now is kind of giving me that vibe. Same energy. Yeah, like I don't really have a catalog going right now in stock. This is so I'm not shooting for like a certain number of photos right now, but just trying to get like a good 30 to 50 to work on. And I think some of these interiors we can add. I got some. Oh, John. Hey, John. Got some good shots there of my parents. I don't even know if I have a photo of the Pakuba airstrip. We'll add that. It is. I don't think I have this. I would probably remember that. And if I do, it just gets rejected. So whatever. And this is pretty cool, eh? You see these birds on the backs of the elephants. Symbiosis in practice right here, you know? Crows. Yeah, there you go. There's a corvus. That's literally what they are. There's crows. Taking shits and eating. I'm gonna pick one of these. Yeah. Probably that one. Like, there's just so many photos that have been like hero because they weren't like, National Geographic, but there's so many photos that still belong. This is a very Brock photo. Very Brock photo. Or with John, though. So where was that? Oh, here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's that van picture. It's sometimes funny to look back on these and only like in the catalog perspective and actually be like, oh, there's only one photo of that, but it's become such like a standout one in the edited versions. Why I haven't played with this one, I don't know, man. That's cool. Yeah. Well, like look at this one. This is a crazy one where da, 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 da. It's definitely gonna be, yeah, this. This? Nah. It's just like night and day, right? Meow. 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 Now, of course, yeah, we're lifting up this. This was all blown out by the time we did that, and so we got full sky replacement in there. Like, um, yeah, more shots of my dad in his outfit. So, like, some of these though, like, I'm looking at these. I see there, and okay, so look, so, oops, let's look at these because if we get him to go less profile than that, because we can still see him. It always started out. Even this one, like the guy lifting it. But the question is, do we get enough profile away from profile over enough that he's not recognizable? It's tough to say. Military too, so you just gotta be careful with that. But I mean, really, like, there we go. So this one, he's out of focus, foreground's in focus. It's telling enough of the story. He's like looking at the ground, something's going on, and like to engage him, and we're looking at the ground as well. So, you know, we have a connection, even though focus likewise, we're disconnected from the subject, but we have a similar interest in as the subject, basically. So, yeah, well, the subject's looking at the ground. This is as if we're standing right behind him and we're doing the same thing. But yeah, I'm gonna add that one. Yeah, we're back in Murchison Falls. Chimps. Chimps were tricky. They were all like super high. So, but even like this one, try. That's not bad. That one sold, and it was in a Yahoo article recently. But then there's these photos, which I don't think I've really worked on. What's going on? Like I vaguely remember. I vaguely remember like telling myself to work on those when I took them, but clearly I don't think much work's taking place. Like even this, like these could go. Um, and I will say for these photos too, like, um, as as like as a shot of two people in a boat going out on the water. Okay, that this wouldn't do very well. Like two people out on a boat on the water. There's definitely like some crazy saturated stuff about that. Um, that would get me nowhere. It would be a total waste of time. Let's go. Stock. Two people on, we could say, in boat on water. Like, look at this. You get this stuff, like this. It's great. This stuff, this stuff, this stuff. This is like similar kind of vibe, right? This doesn't stand out on that, but two people in boat on Lake Murchison. Sorry? On Nile, even. This is kind of like similar vibe. Sure, there are some, but like when you consider like cultural aspect too of it, like a lot of people don't remember how big the Nile River is, and so what happens with something like that is a lot of the keywords get directed to Egypt, for instance, because that's what most people would think of when they think of the Nile River. They don't think of northern Uganda, right? So it's just one of those things where you'll get more hits if you label this local to the area rather than just a generic idea, right? So all these photos are going to be labeled to some degree, on Lake Murchison, on Nile River, near Murchison Falls, all stuff like that. More wildlife that didn't get addressed before. And yeah, we're back to Cobb. So I think we got enough there. Normally this process is a lot faster, but I don't usually talk through the whole thing. All right, 64. We get 50 hits. That's great. May not be able to use all these for sure. So basically how I'm going to start editing all these just for stock purposes. What I usually do is I'll go edit, auto, and select all, auto sync, because I want to get all of these with lens correction and a little bit detail, just enough to say we did. Vibrance, and then we'll give them a little bit of clarity and maybe just 5 on the DAs. And that oh. pull those sweats back. So basically, I'm just working this setting like this way, just to get all the basic stuff out. Like yeah, even just color and exposure is really all I care about right now. I've got my Instagram in the corner there. So then any little dehaze. Oh, shows up. And just get our blacks to a point where they're not shy anymore. Okay. And yeah. And for sure, like it's not like, you know, National Gallery level of artwork, but you go too specific on this sort of stuff, it's not it's not gonna sell. Yeah, so I definitely copied the auto settings from the first photo, which wasn't the best thing to do, but whatever. I didn't have any. Yeah, that's on the Nile River again. So like not many people are thinking like seeing it in that kind of way, in that light. There are certain things, I don't really like using too much saturation vibrance on. Like rocks is definitely one of those things. I find like, we don't need to see more of the yellow coming out on those rocks. Like what's that doing for us? I don't like necessarily need to get out rid of every single like blue, but it's all about having a healthy histogram we aim for. And blue shadow is good. Like what we're gonna look for. Yeah, so this is another word, like instance where like let's saying like guy on guy leading going out on boat, like fuck, it's taken so far away, you got overcast sky. There's nothing really that's selling me on this shot. But as someone who has had to like buy photos for editorial purposes. I know that if you need a shot on this region of someone on a boat or anything happening on this lake, this is probably the best that you're going to get. And that's how I have 7 downloads for a shot of Murchison Falls, because I titled it uh landscape of Murchison Falls with boats. And that's like kind of an untapped market, because like while people are going out here with cameras and taking pictures, it's not the Eiffel Tower. It's not getting shot a million times every day. So if you were writing a story on this region, or uh the lake, or like anything that has to do with this area, like if or you're writing like a travel guide or a travel book or something, like these kind of shots might be all that you have access to. Look at this, like we got a guy holding onto the boat, getting a private tour. uh like I could see a couple instances where a shot like this might be relevant for an editorial piece. Same thing with the rocks, like these holes. That's something that only like the birds maybe in this region do to the sandstone and the cliffs and stuff. So like that's all stuff that we're looking for when we're keywording and detailing our shots. Because if this was just sandstone cliffs on sunny day, actually we get these nice light, there are some nice light rays in the atmosphere there. um who cares? Dirty water, it's not clear ocean blue water that you might want if you're doing a story about, say these were like cliffs that you could jump off, someone's doing a story on something like that. um no, like they're mostly only specific use for talking about this area, this region. By all means, you could try and put them on as just standard photos, but really, like, these are the only use cases these are going to have is if we were talking about the actual region where they were photographed and captured. Because otherwise, no one really cares. And it's a sad truth. If you're just tuning in and you're wondering why this guy is using the auto setting on Lightroom, it's because I'm going through my typical stock procedure, and these are photos that we have not already added to the library. So kind of just trying to get a feel for if we want to, if we like them. Uh, Basically, we're just trying to get the raws from that to that. It's enough right now. We'll probably do some keywording today, but we won't be doing fine tweaks. Why do I do it this way? Is because because frankly, I find that being able to come back on the photo the more times as possible and constantly reviewing it and refreshing my eyes on it is the best way that I've found I'm able to catch new things, because generally they happen right away when I'm not looking for them. And when I'm looking for them, it might take me a long time, or I might never actually find it. So that's how come we're just going in and just doing, like, for instance, capping our blacks and our whites right now. This guy, it's upsetting that we didn't get him in focus. I think if I remember, well, we're at 1,000, so yeah, we should have been fine. But what happened here was all this, you see this grass in the middle, in the foreground. My the focus was definitely grabbing onto that and not the animal, which is too bad. But that's just kind of the reality of that. This chair, I don't really remember. It's definitely near on Lake Albert. probably used by like a fisherman or someone. It is hidden, so it's definitely intentional. But yeah, not sure. These are several shots. Let me know. Do you guys tend to if you were to do this, do you think you guys would bank on your camera sensor and get two shots out of one, crop the first one? Would you crop this into this, or would you take two shots? Let me know. Do highlights equate to whites? Uh, no. Um, well, yes and no, but no, not really, because my whites are more sensitive. Look, we're looking at, if you're looking here, okay, I just raised my weight so you can see all that. It went from 52, where it was full fledged, to it's gone at 33. Okay, but I can bring this up way more before I start to see the same thing. And that's just kind of like one of those balancing things that you get the hang of after a while, because it's just like, yes, blacks, you crunch your blacks, your lowest black value is going to be a 5. If you crush your whites, um then you're looking at lower white values too. Like the brightest part in your photo is no longer going to be 255. The brightest highlight in your photo is not going to be 250, whatever you set it to. So um just something to consider. Pretty elephant. um it's a photo where I wasn't sure, like, if like, do we try, would we crop in? I kind of like that there's the context of where we are, but at the same time I feel like this shot could have been easily just filled with the full texture of the elephant skin. But sorry, I haven't messed with that this whole time, but now it's feeling a little hot, and I think it's because it was open. Getting too much fill. There we go. Oh, that's better. Alright, so I'm gonna just pull these blacks up a little bit and start there. Shadows really aren't gonna do much in this. Like, look, they do add some nice kind of shape to it, if anything. So maybe we'll pull those actually down a bit. And then again, this is like that highlights versus the whites thing. We're doing shadows versus their blacks. We just pulled the shadows down almost the whole range of the slider, and all we got was just a little bit of the warning coming through. So, frankly, there's not much that we can do about in here. It's just black. Like, like, you gotta accept that sometimes, and don't compromise the global adjustments like that for something like that. It's not it's not worth it. Like, this is always going to be black. If it's printed, if it's online, it's going to be black. No one expects it to be not be black. It's weird if the whole other rest of the photo has been compromised or is now flat to accommodate for something like that. The dehaze, we don't need that much dehaze. And then we'll put this on daylight. Those shots, it's like like old man's, portraits of like old beard guys. The high contrast look, kind of clarity vibes. But anyway, yeah, all I'm trying to do is just give the guy a little shape. Yeah, we'll pull the blacks up a little bit again, but same thing. And again, like see where whites are sitting there. This will be interesting. Yeah, of course. Yeah, well, they will give those crows a little light. Okay, this is the airport shot. So I really wish. So I might reset the rest of them because it drive me crazy that they were all. Okay, there we go. All right, yeah. But again, like same thing. Like, do I care about a little bit of that noise in the sky? No, I'm not going to compromise for this shot. Uh, Again though, for 500 ISO on the R5, I'm not too thrilled with that. Like, I'm gonna have to accept that some blacks are just gone. But whatever, it's not a lot, and we can live with it. Like, yeah, I'll probably leave those there again. No one's going in there and looking and saying, "Hey, there's no information here." Uh, we'll add a little bit of detail at this time. But you're noticing like I'm not doing any masking. I'm not doing any like kind of crazy local adjustments. It's all just, is it exposed? Is it sharp? Temperature roughly where it needs to be. Good enough. Um, because at this time, like I'm not too fussy on what we're doing. I just kind of gotta make sure it'll work and all that, and then we'll come back to it. I might do some of the transform and like all those kind of like major physical adjustments first, and just make sure that we fit in the crop and all that stuff. But otherwise, we're just wanting our blacks not to be totally crushed, and same thing for our whites. And that's a good spot. But notice I'm not just like right away sliding, like pulling the blacks. Like, oh, I noticed. Oh, hey, all these blacks are up. Better just go to the blacks. But I don't want to do that. I don't. I'd rather, because I noticed like these mids, these whites, even in the tree. Like this window out here should be much brighter in real life. So I know that I can bring up this general overall exposure a little bit first, and then those blacks just go right away. It has a much, it's better feel, better look, and then we'll dehaze and some of those will come back. But it's all about finding that balance. We are going for a bit of a moodier shot, so maybe this time we'll leave that. Um, I try not to most of the time, also just in case. You never know what these websites are using for their detection software. I've always had it in my head that if I were to run if I ran a stock agency, I want to automatic automated, not automatic, automated features that I would definitely run is to look for clipping, um, and then only allow like 10% in, 10% white, 10% black clipped. You got a problem with that? Don't use it. But I just think it's a good practice for these kind of like all-purpose general photos. That's not to say that all photos in the real world need to be like that. Not at all. I think it would be a very flat and unappealing world if that were the case. But for our purposes, what we're doing today, we just uh, it has to be. It has to get to that point where it's good enough, none that if someone else wants to take it that step further, they can go ahead. But we are just going to get it to that point where if they want to make it, I don't know, nighttime, like our values are good, nothing's clipped. You could like take down the tone, do some masking, and turn this kind of into a moonlit shot if you wanted to. But if we went too crazy with the edits now, there's just no way that someone could push it any further how they might want to. So that's why we just go for pretty general edits. Now this photo, because we see his eye, like we're seeing enough of him that it'll be an issue. So this is a photo where a little bit of masking and a little bit of Photoshop, it's gonna fix the issues that we're having with it. But we're still gonna be left with a nice photo of wooden bridge leading onto footpath in tropical jungle or climate or whatever in southern Uganda. So I feel like that is worth keeping it. And then this one, which we already talked about, I don't know how I feel about it. I feel there's like a lot of opportunity for this one. and like blown out sky director. I don't know. Actually, one good thing to consider. Actually, I didn't think to check this recently in Lightroom, but in Capture One, I I have my levels set. Sorry, I don't know what I'm trying to say. And what I mean, okay, so what I mean by that is basically in Capture when I do those kind of those warnings with the clipping, like this, these things. Uh, Clipping is J. Info. Okay, well, I guess that's weird. Lab. Use lab. Anyway, if anyone knows how you can how to do that, just let me know because that would actually be good to know what we are actually clipping. And that's J on there. Maybe we talked about this one. I like this one. I see you, Mr. Chocobell. We'll leave him in there. It'll be a little treat. I love this is kind of funny. I don't think it's a great photo, but I just think it's hilarious. And it's like, dude, hello, 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 hello. We I don't know if the car like backfired or something when this was taken, but clearly they're all invested in something. This is a photo where I definitely think it needs some localized masking. So right now it's kind of giving me this feeling of they're all on like same plane. It's at f8, but there's not enough separation. I think it's tonally what's bothering me. Uh, because they're the same color as the long grass, it just feels a little flat. So this is an instance where, sorry, I'm stretching with a couple gradients even. No, just throw them on now, whatever. So we'll see. Like, I like to just work with these gradients. Pull that. Like, I want to crush the blacks now. We can bring down the whites. We can bring, like, there's a lot of stuff that we can do. And then we'll go in another one. So look at that. Even just a couple masks. feels pretty good. Oh yeah, here's the inside. It's funny actually. After a couple months after, I guess I took the shot of the plane and everything. Um, Someone asked me, they're like, "Oh, what seat did you sit in?" And I was like, "What seat did I sit in? I don't know. I was pretty close to the back of the bus." And they're like, "Oh, that's too bad because uh, the seat that's I'm gonna forget the seat when you're looking back from the cabin or no back from the cockpit into the cabin, so you're looking at like the end of the you're looking at the butt of the end of the plane. There's the seat that is right immediately to your left. I think it would be where this knee is. I think that's my dad. uh that would be where the actual owner of the plane sits, or whoever's like calling the shots on board, who has like the climate controls, who has like the entertainment controls, who like calls the stewardess, all that stuff. That all happens just from one seat on a private plane. But I was not informed of that going into this experience. Perhaps my dad knew something I didn't. But yeah, it's just general. I don't even know if this will get in. We have some things that could be considered like intellectual, but for the most part, I think it's pretty good. Could could add like a little bit of window out that if you wanted to. You want to see what that would look like? Let's go. Well, cause like I mean these kind of photos where it's just like that little bit. I don't even know if it's going to recognize it as like a sky to even replace, but it's kind of interesting if it does work, because that would be really funny. Just go at it. Sky replacement. Yeah, there's no sky. Yeah, so that doesn't work. I don't know if you could do like a magic wand select and do it, but I doubt it because it still works on the principle of like finding sky. Yeah, no, there's no sky. But what's funny is that if you go into this and you like hide this, mask of that, and then like um and just add like a sky full of elements. Sky. Go here, and now you go sky replacement, but arguably at this point, oh, it doesn't work. Okay, never mind. I was stand corrected. Not because we have like a flattened layer of it with the sky, but yeah, it looks terrible because of that What the heck is that? Anyway, this is just a test. We're not serious. It actually is the Series 3 though. Anyway, so that's the inside of that. Might go ahead and just remove my dad's knee though, because not really feeling that. I don't think that really adds anything to the shot that beneficial. Yeah, more on Lightroom. I've been using the generative AI. I try to stay away from it on Photoshop just because I know about the credits and I know about it being written in the metadata and all that stuff. So yeah, it is something that I'm always considering when I use it. Is there another way that I could achieve this result without generative fill? But it's pretty good, man. I gotta say, it's pretty good. Just makes me nervous about the licensing and all those terms and condition forms that I've probably blindly accepted, giving away all the rights to my shots to Adobe because I'm removing like a freaking knee in the corner of the shot. But you can just see like in this, like this is a good example. Like I just achieved like my base level quality within a couple changes. Just really know what to look for and keeping an eye on this sort of stuff. So one rule I like to consider though is it makes sense that we're seeing the black values if it's, down here, negative, any negative numbers. I'm very happy to just push that back up to 0. But once we get into the territory where we're having to really push past 0, I get a little careful and I try to look at other ways that we can bring that up. I see. I noticed that my whites are at 50, so maybe it's a matter of bringing up the overall exposure to the point. So I just brought up quite a bit, and we're still not getting any errors. 94, the 97 in there, so it's probably going to be in this area where it first peaks, but we'll push it to that. Yeah, right there. Okay, so that's about as bright as we can get, but we can go push a little further because we're going to pull those whites back anyway. There we go. There we go. But again, I would argue that these blacks are not like blacks that if they had no information, anyone would say anything. So let's just go to 0. That's vibrant. Check before and after. All right. Good. So I'm not too worried about the kid because obviously it's coming out. I didn't realize how grumpy he was. I don't know why. Because I like this shot. I think this might, like, I might want to explore this shot further, but I'm not really comfortable doing that in the current condition of its noise. Again, 800 noise or 800 ISO on Canon R5. I thought I would handle that a little bit better, but here we are. Yeah, we're gonna go definitely add a little bit of that. All right, this is the first time I'm doing this today. We're just gonna do a denoise. I tried, like, I'm not huge on these denoise operations. Um, we're like using a lot of it. Uh, but like we go from that to that's pretty good. But it does take on like a quality I'm not huge on, so like we expect there to be a little bit of noise, but maybe not that much. So let's try that. Yeah, make sure you're on grid. Now we're looking at all file types. Okay, so we're looking at is the original still. There we go. I'm actually curious if we get a better. No, it's just out of focus, I guess. Which is funny. At 5.6, that's pretty far away. But yeah, look. So you still get some noise in the hill, but it's not as extreme as that, right? I'm gonna go to my CR3. Oops. Oh, what happened there? G&G, yeah, pick. I don't really pick that. It's cute, but not for my stuff today. But like this is the kind of photo where, you know, after we take him out and go in, like we'll probably do a little bit of a sky and stuff on that, but we can't go too crazy. There are obviously some shadow lines. Sun is like way the heck up there. Sorry. Yeah, it's gotta tell me in chat if my camera goes to sleep. I gotta figure out how to combat that. But in the meantime, it is what it is. So yeah, I'll keep that photo in mind. We'll have to go back to that again. Didn't see this person at first, but that would be it's a rejection. So I'm gonna have to remember that. When people are about that scale, though, in Lightroom, you know, I will probably just remove them in the app. Like they're not adding anything to the photo with them, and so I don't think it'll be missed without them. And I'm just running into obviously some legal complications by leaving them in, so we're just gonna take them out. And like, yeah, my thought going with that is of course, like, oh, what if, you know, like if I want to sell them privately as like art photos, whatever, if I don't need those, if those people aren't like fully making the shot, then they don't need to be there because it really just does add complications. So yeah, So yeah, that's a good one. We'll keep that, and then I can probably just apply sync for the most part. Yeah. Oh, my camera battery's gonna die. Okay, so that might be the end of the stream for now until we pick it up later. Yeah, I could go to just camera, not the camera, just the screen. Keep working there. Well, maybe I'll do that and then let the camera charge up for a bit. But I think for a while I'm just gonna go silent and work as long as I can. I'll let you guys know when I think of signing off. But for now, the camera's got to charge. So thanks for hanging out with me. If you're gonna leave after this, appreciate it. And I've had a good time. Again, this is my first stream, so um, I think it's gone really well. And next time we'll hopefully get more engagement in the chat, and I can actually communicate with you guys. I want you guys to ask questions about what I'm doing, my processes, more about stock photography. If you have questions that we could just start discussion, that's all I'm about. Because I don't have all the answers, but just like you, I'm searching for them. And so if we can uncover those together, I think this relationship will work really well. So I'm trying to get in as much said before the camera shuts down on me. But this was a lot of fun, and yeah, I might come back on camera when it gets a little bit of charge in it. But yeah, thank you so much for hanging out. We've been live for a couple hours now already, so I look forward to looking back on this, and yeah, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. So yeah, I'm gonna turn off the camera for now, and we'll just go screen. I might go quiet for a bit, but I'm still here. Peace.